What is your purpose? It's midweek mindfulness, and I want to talk about purpose. I hear a lot of people talking about your divine purpose. What is my divine purpose? I have a lot of people ask me, like during private client sessions, Lauren, what is my purpose? And one, I feel like a lot of times when people ask me that question, what they're really asking is, Lauren, what should be my profession? Right? And I think it's important, one, to note that your purpose and your profession are not always the same thing, right? You could work just like a regular day job, and after work you could go and volunteer, or you could help coach kids' little league, and you could be fulfilling your divine purpose that way. You could just be a distributor of excessive kindness, and there's no paycheck necessarily for that so often people are asking what is their purpose, when really they're asking, how do I make my purpose my profession? And sometimes they're not always the same. But that brings up the idea of purpose. I think that everyone, and I think that it's normal, kind of wants to know why they're here. And when they ask, what is my purpose? What they really mean is, why am I here? What's the job I'm supposed to do here? Like, what is the meaning? What is the point of it all? And, as spiritual people, spiritual leaders and teachers and courses and communities, I think that so often we forget how much we try and quantify meaning and purpose and the reason for existence and all of these things, because the idea of this, I don't know, the idea of an existential crisis, not knowing the meaning of life, sits in a really uncomfortable position for intuitive people, right? So you'll see a lot of people come forward and go, well, we're here to, uplift the collective consciousness. Like, we're here to bring in new earth. We're here to preach the gospel. We're here to burn the patriarchy down. Like, we're here, right? It's like, and it's kind of a funny thing. And, maybe every single one of those pieces has a point. Maybe every single one of those pieces plays like a small part in why we exist and why the world exists and in why we're here, right? But maybe each of those pieces is not greater than, the sum of its whole. And it really had me thinking last night about purpose, like, and how, what if someone were to tell you your exact purpose in life? This is what your purpose is. I feel like initially there would be this relief of, okay, so that's my purpose. That's my thing. That's the thing that I'm going to do. That's the thing I'm going to focus my energy on. That is, that is the byline of my existence. That's why I'm here. Great. And I feel like you would take it and you'd run with it for a while, but eventually, like sooner or later, you'd start getting a little uncomfortable in that. You'd start getting a little squirrely. You'd start looking around and questioning, is that really my purpose, right? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this the only thing that I'm supposed to be doing? Because the thing about one purpose is that initially it provides you that sense of security. It provides you that sense of focus and direction, of knowing. But then I think it becomes restrictive. I think it becomes monotonous. And I think that as people, we really crave variety. And I think as people, we really crave exploration. But at the same time, we also crave things like comfort, like security. We crave predictability. We want both, right? And that's always a really hard thing to obtain and balance. And as a person, this need for variety and exploration, while also really craving like predictability in our circumstances, and how do you kind of do both? And so I think sometimes when we overly focus on what is the purpose of life, like what is my purpose, why am I here, what is the thing, that the tenet that I'm supposed to be living by or living out in my existence, I think initially it gives us that feeling of intention and security and focus. But then I think after a while, people find it to be really restrictive, right? Because it denies you the opportunity for other things that can be focused on, other things that can be done or explored. And so I think sometimes when we overly focus on what is my purpose, sometimes we set ourselves up for self-sabotage. Like we set ourselves up for failure sometimes, or feeling inadequate, right? And maybe that your purpose, your real purpose, is to find the purpose in every person, place, and thing, and how it affects your life. The purpose of these things that occur in your life. The purpose that these things play in your life, right? Maybe that is your purpose, is just to find the purpose that everything and everyone else plays for you. So that way you can get to know yourself better. So that way you can understand God or the universe better, right? Figure out your likes and your dislikes, your preferences, what kind of lights you up and excites you, and what kind of just bores you, is just a little uninteresting. Maybe that's all it is. I wonder if we just, for a moment, stop trying to quantify existence, stop trying to figure out the meaning of life, stop trying to put definitions and labels on why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing and what the next thing on the horizon is. I wonder if we'd just be happier as people, if it would allow us to sit more in this present moment and allow us to kind of step back from our personal, spiritual, social crusades just long enough to actually take a breath. It's an interesting thing. And I see we live in a social media world. You know what I mean? We live in a material world, and we are material girls. And so sometimes I think that we look at other people doing things, living lives, working jobs that maybe we're really interested in and would really like to do, and we see them as living their purpose. And it's that saying, like, you gotta love seeing someone else like live your dream, right? It's like I see that sometimes online, like on Twitter, like I see people talk about that, like, oh God, I've seen what you do for others. I see these people out here living my dreams, living my purpose, right? And so sometimes comparison is always and has always been the thief of joy. But sometimes I don't think we realize that, like, you may see someone online, like you may see someone in your life, and it looks like, or it feels like, they are living their purpose, and then you feel inadequate because you don't know what your purpose is. But maybe you're not seeing them live out their purpose. Like, maybe you're just seeing them, you're a witness to them living out like a portion of their process, perhaps. You know what I mean? And like, I can even think about it for myself, what I'm doing now. And I'm a very ambitious person. Like, I will never deny that about myself. I am incredibly driven. I am incredibly ambitious. At times, I'm borderline competitive. Like, I know ain't nobody tell me something about myself that I don't already know. And so I have a lot of goals for myself. I have short-term goals. I have long-term goals. I have goals on Post-it notes. I have goals in my calendar. Like, I got goals everywhere, right? But when I think about where I am now, in comparison to where I was a few years ago, I am in a place that I only dreamed of. Like, where I'm sitting right now, even though at times it is not the top of the mountain that I would like to be at, I realize that I'm currently sitting in an answered prayer, right? At one point I was crying and I was like, I don't want to serve mozzarella sticks anymore. Like, I don't want to hand out another Miller Lite for the rest of my goddamn life. And I had prayed to be able to do this work, right? As my job, to like live my purpose. Lord, this is my purpose. Please let me go. Let me serve the people. Let me do my thing. Let me express my spiritual gifts. This is my purpose. Let me live my purpose. And I got to sit in an answered prayer because now I'm getting to do that. And in those, sometimes there are those moments where I realize, is this my entire purpose, right? Or is this just a portion of my process? Because there is so much more to me than just the spiritual work that I do. There's so much more to me than the things I'm able to do. like warfare, like healing, like guidance, like education. I have all of these abilities, but I'm so much more than that, right? So is the work that I'm doing, is it my purpose or is it my process? It's a question, right? Because I know a lot of you guys, you see tarot readers, you see energy workers, you see people with Reiki businesses, you see small business owners, right? And it's good to have people to like look up to feel like inspired by. But again, comparison is the thief of joy, and so sometimes you can look at those people and then feel really inadequate in your own life because you're not living your purpose and someone else is, right? And you could use that as motivation to get to know yourself better and spend more time and invest more energy into things that you really do like, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, things that make you feel good, things that make you feel helpful, things that have a positive impact on others, right? But at the same time, it's just a question, you know, that it's like, if you look at me, if you're someone that has spiritual gifts and like you want to start a channel or you want to have a small business, or which is not easy, let me tell you, it's not easy, but it's like, if you have spiritual gifts, you want to start a YouTube channel, like you want to do spiritual work, like you want to take this on full time, right? Because it's your purpose. And like you see someone like me, or you see other creators, or you see other energy healers or other spiritual workers, and you see them doing it, right? It's just a question to ask you, like, are you witnessing Lauren? That's me. Are you witnessing Lauren like live out her purpose right now and you feel inspired by that? Or are you witnessing Lauren work through a portion of her process, and there's something about that process of being submerged into something, whether it's for a short time or whether it's for a long time, submerged in the process of that calls to me? Because in the submersion of that process is a level of presence that currently I'm not feeling in my life, right? Because oftentimes we don't feel present in our life, and so we go through kind of the escapist thing and we daydream about other things we want to do, and what if I had this big purpose and then I could do that? And it's the idea of it just kind of submerging you in like magic and mystery and exploration, right? But then when you do that, there is a form of security, there is a form of predictability, there is a form of repetition that occurs. And at some point, you may find that maybe you get bored with that, or maybe you don't want that to be entirely your purpose. Maybe you want to do other things, you want to branch out, and now you feel like you can't because then you're not living your purpose. And again, it's like I said, sometimes we set ourselves up for failure like that. So these are just kind of like musings. Again, these are just, it's mindfulness, like something to think about, that maybe you don't need a big special reason why you're here. Maybe there is no reason why we exist and why the world exists. Maybe there is no huge spiritual mission. Maybe there is no grand purpose. Maybe your purpose is to find the purpose that other things play in your journey of self-discovery. When you see someone else living out your purpose, living out your dreams, maybe that's not what they're doing. Maybe you're just witnessing them play out a portion of their process and not necessarily their purpose. We don't know. No one really knows. Where we round and go, where we stop, no one really knows. No matter how smart, no matter how intuitive, no matter nothing. No one really has all of the answers, and that could be really scary sometimes. But in a weird way, I actually find it terribly comforting. Terribly comforting that there's so much that I don't understand. And every day I get to understand myself a little bit more, just a little bit. And that I don't always have to hold myself to these huge standards of fulfilling my grand destiny, my purpose. I can just be, and I can play, and I can explore, and I can just submerge myself in different phases and different processes, and just allow life, allow the universe, allow God to like lead me to the next portion, right? Again, it's just musings. It's just food for thought. It's just something to think about, to be mindful. I speak on my truth. I speak on my experience. I don't speak in absolute spiritual truths because, to be honest, there are none. There are no absolute spiritual truths, and no one really has it all figured out. So if you don't have an absolute truth for yourself, if you don't know what your purpose is, if you know what I mean, if you don't know, that's okay. And take comfort in the fact that no one else does either. No one else does either. And that you just wrap that around yourself like a warm blanket. Very good? Very good. So I just wanted to kind of like throw that out here into the pool this week for midweek mindfulness. Just something to think about. Maybe just something to consider to take a little bit of that pressure off yourself, right? Take a little of the pressure off. Allow yourself to play a little more. See what shakes out. Very good. Aye. All right. I love you guys very much. You have a good day. Happy equinox. Happy Libra season. Happy, thank God it's almost October. And I will see you later. Goodbye.